So the reason why we didn't move to San Francisco, even though we had some pressure from the investors to do something like that, there were a couple of reasons, actually. The first reason is talent. Even though there's a lot of good talent in San Francisco, we also have great talent in the Nordics. And even though the talent pool is smaller here in the Nordics, the competition is much less fierce. You're not competing against all the big Apples and Googles and the cool startups in the Valley. Here in the Nordics. So you can actually get really good talent here. Another reason for me was just because I want to be in Iceland. I grew up here, my children are here, and I want to be here. And why shouldn't I be able to be here in the new market where everything is digital and online? So it's something that, QuizUp will always remain in Iceland. So different locations are good for different things. Our main office is here in Iceland, where we have the management and the engineering. Then we also have an office in New York, and that's mainly for sales and marketing. The reason for that is that we just recently had a new product that is aiming for enterprise sales, and it's really hard to do, eye-to-eye sales abroad. It's hard to do all these Skype meetings. You want to meet with these enterprises. So to be close to the market is important. But when it comes to San Francisco, the reason why it's good to be there is for funding, and also just because of the whole, tech ecosystem there. You have Apple and Google and all of our partners there. So my job actually involves a lot of flying between those three places, and that's just a part of the job. I think one of the main differences between the US investors and Nordic investors, is their attitude towards failure. This is something I experienced, quite heavily. Once I had done my first failure, I had a very hard time going to investors and, telling them about my plans. And then they would ask hey, so what have you done? And they would look at my failed product and they would get very skeptical. I could find immediately or sense immediately when I talked about the failure of my previous product that they would become very skeptical. On the other hand, in the US, when I talked about my previous failure, this was cherished. And I know that some funds in the US, they really just don't want to fund anyone that hasn't got a failure or two on his back. Because what failure does, it helps you learn. It helps you deal with difficult situations. And that is what makes a good entrepreneur in the end. So don't be afraid to fail.